We are live.
Oh, are we? Oh.
We're live. I think we're live. Are we live? I think we are. Let's see if I can get this. Current trailer changes settings.
Is today day 3?
Today's 4.
Oh, day 4. Oh, look.
Says my supplies are
Let's see
low.
what you have on. Okay.
I have on a black shirt today. Come on in, everybody. Say hello when you get here.
Oh, there you are.
We are back. This is Jen with Jen's Den Art, and we are on our day 4 of 10 of our Acrylic 101 challenge. And we'd love for you to come and hang out with us today and see what we are talking about.
Hello, Sharon and Sandy and Pamela and Laura and Candy. And where's my mic?
Oh, your mic is right here.
And Margaret. And Ann.
See if it works. See if it works. Can you hear me? Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Can you hear
Can you hear me calling?
We're crazy. Jane from Australia.
Hello, Miss Jane. How are you?
We got Michigan in the
Oh,
house.
goodness.
Steve.
That is not what I wanted to do, but okay.
Miss Linda Bear from Louisiana down south.
Hello, Miss Linda.
And Pat. Oh, bless my heart.
Come on in,
Laura.
everybody.
Margaret
we go.
and Andrew and
I'm trying to get this thing to print out.
And Pat Bird.
All right, guys, so let's talk about where we were, what we've done so far. And I'm printing out something that I have for you in our Facebook group. Today is the day about colors. Okay, we're going to talk a lot about colors and we're going to paint. Okay, so the first 30 minutes, basically, the way that I'm breaking it up is I'm trying to do it this way. The first 30 minutes are really like a deep dive into something. And then the last 30 minutes or 20 minutes, we're actually going to apply what we've been learning into the whole process of creating a painting. Okay, tomorrow is going to be the beginning of a painting that's going to take us more than just one day. All right, we're gonna, y'all voted on, this is tomorrow, not today. I'm just letting y'all know. Y'all voted on a barn with like a landscape with a barn. So that is what we are going to be starting tomorrow. And it's gonna take us 4 days to get through the whole thing. So day 5, 6, 7, and 8 are going to be to paint it, and then 9 and 10 we're going to talk about some other things as well. So just to let you know where we are today, we're going to talk about 2 things. The first thing we're going to talk about is color mixing and the color wheel. Okay, color mixing and the color wheel. And then after we talk about that, I have found this beautiful, let me show you. I found this beautiful photo that I have the rights to use as a reference, and we are going to work on painting this using this reference photo. So there are some beautiful colors in here that that will really, really make us happy. Okay, so when I paint it, I'm going to use my same little 6x6 canvas that I was using earlier when we painted our river. And we're going to start fresh with the color wheel. Okay?
The color wheel.
If you do not have a color wheel in your possession, it is okay. You don't have to have a color wheel, but I just wanted to everybody's saying it's a beautiful cone flower. Isn't it pretty? Yes. I'm so glad y'all like it. Don't think I would, but I did post my painting. Yay. Yes, please continue to post your paintings. I'm so excited that all of you are posting your paintings. And we are going to start giving away prizes today. I purposely wanted to wait on the prizes because I wanted to make sure that I gave away prizes to people who were really committed. We're on day 4 now. So people who were really committed and were coming back every day.
Right on.
Okay, so we purposely waited to start giving away prizes. So just so you know, that's one of the things that I wanted to do.
Endurance wins the race.
Endurance wins the race. All right.
All right, Mama. You said that smooth as jelly.
Smooth as jelly. Okay, so tonight is Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it is Wine Wednesday. I have not even taken a sip yet, just so you know. And my cup does say, Go Tigers. I am an LSU alumni, just in case you didn't know. So today is Wine Wednesday. All right. I'm pretty excited about that.
Okay.
Aren't you?
Hello, old girl.
Pretty
I'm
good.
Committed. Sandy says, "Oh, girl, I am committed."
Oh, good, Sandy.
Pat, you need to win. You need to try to win.
All right, so let's get started, and we're going to create a color wheel ourselves. So in the Facebook group, you will see that there is a color wheel that you can print out. So I would highly recommend you print it out if you haven't done so already. Okay, and we're going to look at our colors on our color wheel. And we're also going to do a little bit of a color study and talk about some things. But if you don't have it printed out, I want to show you what you can do. Okay. And I'm going to open up my mixed media pad because you know we used our mixed media pad yesterday and we created some cute little areas to work on. So if you don't have the color wheel printed out, you can just take, let's see, here we go. This is, where's my marker? Here we go. Here's a marker. Okay, you can just take a marker and I'm going to write on the top of this. This is day 4 because I know some of y'all are actually doing this. I saw you writing it. This is day 4. We're talking about colors and color mixing. Okay, so like I said, if you don't have the printout, you could just do this. You could use, oh heck, I don't have anything around here that's round, that's big enough round. Oh yeah, I do. I have this. This is I'm going to make a big circle with this. I know y'all can't really tell what it is, but I have the bottom of this is a big round circle. So I'm going to put this down and I'm going to trace around it and make a big circle. Okay. So there's my circle there. You could definitely do this. And then
we got a lot of committed people.
Oh, good.
Indeed.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting basically our 3 main colors. Let me make my face smaller because y'all don't need to see my face on here. Let me go. There we go. Okay. One day I'll actually know what I'm doing with this thing. Okay. Our 3 main colors are red, and I'm gonna kind of make like a third of the way around. Okay, y'all can see what I'm grabbing the colors from here. Yellow, and this looks like this is about a third, right? So we're going kind of like 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and what is that? Maybe 8 o'clock about.
Let me see where it is.
Blue.
Yep. About 8 o'clock.
Okay, so those are our main colors, and we're going to start there. And I'm just going to show you what we're going to do. These are really the main or the only colors that you really need to create just about any painting or anything that you need. So I'm going to use my cadmium red, my ultramarine blue, and my cadmium yellow light. And I'm going to take one of my flat brushes, which by the way, needs a little TLC there. And I'm just going to put my basic colors right there. Oh, gotta clean that paintbrush up.
That's what we like to hear, Sandra.
What?
I have not painted in years, and I am so glad I found this class
Yay!
to get me back into something that I used to love.
Yes, Miss Sandra, I got goosebumps when you said that. Y'all know what goosebumps are?
Isn't it a song, by the way?
Is it really?
No, something that I used to love or something.
Oh.
Kathy would know.
All right, so I'm just going to put these 3 colors in here. If you printed this out, then you would just color this in on each one of those. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is, so these 3 colors are your primary colors. All right, these 3 colors are your primary colors. Let me find if you buy a color wheel, they have like all kind of information on it that you really don't need, but you can see all the different definitions and stuff. So if you look at the color wheel and you see like all of the colors that they have on it, you'll notice that, let's go with the same direction that I have. You'll notice here that here's my red, here's my yellow, and here's my blue. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same exact thing there, and we'll worry about all the other colors eventually. But what I want you to notice is directly across from one another is your what's called your complementary colors to one another on your color wheel. And this turns, okay, so you can see that directly across from red is your green. So just to let you know, something that I do on a regular basis is if I'm painting like a red rose, I'm going to do myself a favor and I'm going to say, you know what's a good complementary color to red that will complement my painting if I need a nice background. Okay, now of course if you're painting a rose, your green is going to come in your leaves. So you may want to look, maybe there's a third color that you want to pull in that's not the complement, okay? And so you have what's called a triad of colors. It's like 3 colors. You'll see the triangle here. So if you put your triad on
triad or triad?
It might be triad.
Triad.
I'm just a math person. I don't know English very well. So if you put your triad on the red, then you'll see, okay, well, the triad points to the blue and the yellow, which of course is a combination of how you make green. Okay, so since blue and yellow make green, and we know that green is the most complementary color to red, then blue and yellow in its own vibe will also be a complementary color as well. So if you this is like really deep, but if you maybe instead of going with exact like perfect green, maybe you want to go with an aqua that has green and blue in it, okay? Or maybe you want to go with a lime green that has green and yellow in it. So those are just things to think about when you're trying to decide on a color scheme that you want to use. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of times I will just go on Pinterest and I will find a color scheme that I really love, that I fall in love with. And I might just type in Pinterest, summer color schemes. You know how they give you the little bars of all the different colors? Mm-hmm. And if I get happy with that, then I'll be like, oh, I want to create a painting with all of these colors in it. So anyway, that's just something to think about.
I wish we would come up with a color wheel, like in the beginning, like developed it.
Oh, yeah, it would be pretty awesome. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of color study that's gone into this whole process.
Sure enough.
But here's something else I want to show you. If I take these three colors, the same amount, we did this the other day, if I take the same amount of these three colors and I mix them all together. Okay, now your mixing is going to be a little bit different than mine, depending on exactly what colors you're using. But this is the color that you're going to get in the middle when you mix these three together. Okay, it's basically like a muddy color. Okay, it's kind of a grayish brownish color that you're going to come up with if you mix all three of these together. Okay, and I'm going to clean my paintbrush off.
No,
I use a color wheel a lot. You don't have to have it, but it is definitely something you can use.
Very complimentary.
Okay, so now we're going to look at this. If I take my blue and yellow and I take a smidget of blue and a smidget of yellow and I mix them together, then I know exactly, and same amounts, okay, same amounts of each. I mix them together, then you're going to have your green, and your green is going to show up, of course, right here. Okay, so you can create your green by just mixing those two colors together. And I'm looking for my marker. Here it is. So here's our green. And then I'm going to do that with the yellow and the red. And we all know what not yellow and red, blue and red. We all know what blue and red are going to make, right? Okay, our blue and our red is going to make, I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's making a violet or a purple.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to write violet in here. And then, of course, when you mix your red and yellow, you're going to get, if you take a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red. Is Pat here today?
Yeah, people put purple Miss Pat. Pat's favorite color.
You're going to get your
Pat's purpose.
Your orange in there.
Pat's purple.
Okay, so that's how we get those colors. Now, if we mix, I want to show you this. If we mix complementary colors together, blue and orange, we're going to do the rest of them as well, but I just want to show you. If we mix blue and orange, so I'm going to take my orange, which I'm going to make a little bit more of it. Okay, so there's my orange. And I'm going to take my blue and I'm going to mix it in my orange. Same amounts, pretty much, 1-to-1 ratio there. Then I want you to notice what color I came up with. Look at that. It's the same color that was in the center before. Okay, same exact color. So if you remember anything from geometry, if you go from one side of the circle to the other side of the circle, the center, that's your diameter. The center of your circle is going to be that grayish, brownish color. So what I'm trying to say is, I know it's kind of hard to understand what I'm trying to say. If I mix, well, we're going to have to do a little bit more. So let's go ahead and mix our next two colors. So I'm not ready to explain that other thing to you. So let's go back. Let's do violet and red. So I'm going to have to make a little bit more violet. Okay, so I'm going to make the violet first by putting my red and blue together. And I'm going to make my violet. Okay. You know what? I should be using a palette knife for this. So that my mixing, here, going to use this. I'm going to use a palette knife for my mixing so y'all can see better what I'm doing. So I made my violet, and then now I'm going to add the same amount of just red to it. Just red. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to mix that together. Okay, and then that color is going to be in between the other two. So now I have, of course, that violet red color. Okay, let's do the orange. So I'm going to make the orange. No, I'm not making orange. I'm making green. So I'm just trying to make my colors actually. Let's do this. Red and yellow. Okay, there's my orange. That's the orange that I already have. Then I'm going to make a red and orange. So here's my orange. Now I'm going to grab some red and I'm going to put into my orange, and I'm going to make an orange red. So that's the color that I'm going to get here. I could probably use a little bit more red in it. That's the color that I'm going to get here. Okay, so that's my orange red. Then I'm going to take this same orange and I'm just going to add yellow. So if I add yellow, probably need to add a little bit more yellow.
Mama Pat prefers to hear purple instead of violet.
Then we have our orange yellow. So I think y'all see the pattern here that's happening. If I take my green and I add my yellow, and I mix that together, then I can see that I'm going to have my lime green, two colors mixed together. The blue and the green, I'm going to have my blue, and I'm kind of running out of green here, but I'm going to try it. Nope, that's a little bit too much green, looks like. Then I'm going to have my blue-green in between. And then, of course, the last one is going to be my blue-violet. So I'm out of purple. Let me make just a little bit more purple. So I'm bringing this to your attention because that's basically, okay, so there's my purple, and then I'm going to add my blue to it. That's basically how the color wheel is made and used. This is a beautiful, beautiful color. I love this blue violet. It's like a, what's the?
What?
Periwinkle is kind of what I think of when I see blue violet. Okay, so that's kind of where we're going with those colors. Now I want to bring something else to your attention here.
Question.
Yes.
Real quick. Is the green that you're using a true green? Or did you mix it to get green?
I mixed ultramarine blue and cadmium yellow light to get that green. So I was not using a tube green at all.
You're a chemist.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So I want you to notice something else. The color wheel shows different shades and different tones, okay? And it'll tell you on here what a shade is and what a tone is. And your shades, it's just a name for, like, if I want a darker shade, I'm going to add a little bit of black to my color, and it's going to make the color get darker, which is going to bring you more towards the center of the color wheel. So if you notice all the way on the outside of the color wheel, those are the pure colors. Those are called hues. Okay, I'm not going to go into a whole big detail on all of this, but I get the question sometimes, what is a hue? A hue is the color on the outside, the pure color, okay? The red, the green, the, these names, the green, yellow, the yellow, green, the blue, green, all that kind of stuff, okay? This one even breaks it down even more than what I did here. So that's all that a hue is. So if you hear the word hue, it's basically just a color. Okay, that's all it is a color. All right. So I don't get into all of those monochromatic colors and all that kind of stuff. I don't use any of that stuff. But I do want to share with you on both sides of here, there are warm colors and there are cool colors. And just like on your hot and cold, water faucet, your warm colors, of course. Well, let me break this up for you. Your reds, your oranges, and your yellows are going to be your warms. Okay, so think about when you're going to use hot water, of course, you're going to have that red, that orange, that yellow. And cool and warm colors, sometimes people want to create a painting where they have a variety of cool colors and warm colors in the same painting. But sometimes people will just create a painting with only warms. Okay, so there's not a rule on don't mix warms and cools and all that kind of stuff. But if you're using some warms and you feel like, ooh, my painting has got too much orange in it and it's looking too orangey, too yellowy, then you might want to tell yourself, okay, now I need to bring some cools in. So your cools are your violets, your blues, your greens. These colors over here are your cool colors. Okay. So, and there's a few names that people use. There's one that's tint. If it's a tint, then they're basically adding white to the color and it's making it a little bit lighter. So you can see here, okay, the more white I add, the lighter I'm getting my color. Okay, that's what that's all about. These are all tints. These are the tints of your color. That's all that is. Just add white and you're going to get those colors that you want off of the basic color. And then on this side, what they're doing is they're adding black. The further you go down, the more darker your colors are going to get. So when you do your shades here, you're adding black. Okay, the one that I love the most is when you deal with the tone. Okay, because look, white's a color and black's a color. But what if you mix those two colors together? Then that's an additional type of color that you can create. So if I mix white and black together, then I get a whole different color combination that I'm going to create. And that is called when you're creating a tone. I usually call it muting down the color. I catch myself saying that a lot. So a tone is when you add gray. So if maybe I'm using yellow, I do it a lot with green because sometimes my green is like super, super bright. And I'm like, oh no, I need to tone this down. I use the word tone and I add gray to it. Or I might say, I need to make it not so bright. So I'm gonna add some gray to it, and that's gonna make it not so bright. It's still gonna have the same value, but it's gonna change, like it's gonna make it more of an olivey green rather than a really bright green. And that's what I want to show you because I find I use that more than any other color that I use. So I'm going to show you a really bright green that I use sometimes. Let's find, here we go. So light, we want it to be just like a basic green. Light vanilla green, sap green. Just like a regular grass green is what I'm looking for. Okay. So let's say I start with a green. There you go. That's just a regular old grass green. I put a lot of paint on the palette here. It's just a regular old grass green. You see, it just looks like the color of grass. Okay. And I might add this to my painting and I'm like, oh, no, no, no. I don't like it. It's way too bright. It is not making me happy. So I would tell myself, and I say this out loud when I'm teaching, oh, I need to tone that green down. Okay, and this is what I mean. I'm going to take some black and white, and I'm going to make a gray. Okay, you can actually buy gray in a tube. I just like mixing my colors to make a gray. Okay, and then I'm going to take that gray, which is a really dark gray. I probably need some more white in there. And I'm going to take my green. Okay, I'm going to take a piece of green here, and I'm going to mix it in that. And I want you to watch how it just makes a beautiful, I love adding gray to my paints. It just makes a much more I need a little bit more green, and I need to keep on mixing. You can tell it's not the first time I mixed, right? Okay, so look at that green now.
Definitely a pro, Mama.
Look at that, how pretty. Look at that. It's just, it's beautiful. It's like an olive color now. Okay, and maybe now that you created this olive color, this olive green, you feel like, okay, it's too dark. It needs to be a little lighter. So just add some white. Just add some white to it, and then watch what happens. You see how you can tone that into. I love mixing paints. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's a challenge for me, I guess. You see how now I have a totally different green color. I know it's kind of hard to see, but look at what I started with and look at what I ended up with. And I made a beautiful color just from black and white and green using this. Then what if I said, I know green's not, I use green a lot, so that's why I wanted to show this to you. What if I wanted to make it darker? I'm going to add just some black. And then you're going to see how. I love to mix my paints like this, by the way. See how I'm just using my palette and I'm just pulling. And then after I pull it back and forth, I scrape it all up into a pile again. And see, now I have this dark. And this all of these colors come from that one green that I put on my palette. This is a really dark green. I know it's kind of hard to see. And then there's all of those different shades that you made just with that green and that black and white. Okay, so black and white is definitely a staple for all paintings that you're going to be doing. Some people never use black. They stay with the color that you create when you mix your complementary colors together. They stay with that that middle tone that I showed you. Where was it? They will stay with this, and then they will keep on mixing until they get something close to black. But some people say they don't want to use black in their paintings, okay? Because once you hit black in your painting, and you feel like, oh, I need to go a little bit darker, you can't. Black is the darkest of dark that you're going to get. So a lot of painters will say, okay, well, I'm not going to use just solid black because I want to give myself some room to make some adjustments if I need to make some adjustments. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's some fun stuff that I wanted to talk to you about. Okay, so what's our time, Michael?
It is 5:35.
Okay, so perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch gears and we're going to paint a painting.
Right on.
Take a sip of my wine. And I'm going to use this square right here on it's a 6x6. And I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to tape it off. And I bought this tape at Hobby Lobby or somewhere like that. This is called artist tape. Okay, you could use like the blue painter's tape as well. It works probably the same as this does. And I'm just gonna tape it off so that I don't get all of my paint colors onto my other piece that I painted earlier. All right, so let's get all of our paints down, and you can see the painting in the top right hand corner. I'm going to put it right here. You can see the painting in the top right hand corner that we're going to paint. I'm going to use, and this is where I want to like really talk to you about mixing colors together. I'm going to use my basic colors that we talked about earlier. I'm going to use the red, the blue, and the yellow. Same exact colors, the cadmium red, the ultramarine blue, and the cadmium red light. I'm going to put a little bit of black right here, and then I'm going to put white. And I'm not going to use anything else, okay? I'm just going to use those. So I'm going to use my flat brush that I just had that I was working with. And before I start, I'm going to sketch this out, okay? I'm going to sketch it out. So I'm looking at the, like where the flower is. The flower is about in the center. The main flower is about in the center. And I have my petals. This is just giving me a guide, okay? Just a guide. I have my petals here. Here's my stem. And then about halfway down, I have all of my other cone flowers in the golds. And that's really all I need to sketch. I really don't have a lot to sketch there. I probably went a little bit high, didn't I? I might have a little more cone flowers back here. Another one back here. There's a circle that's dark. There's a circle. There's a circle. Okay, so that just kind of gives me an idea of where I'm going. I'm going to start with the background. Okay, I'm not going to block in the darks. We could do that. We could definitely do that if we wanted. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the background. I'm just giving you some options for painting a painting because there's not just one way to paint a painting. Some people will paint the flower first and then go back and paint the background later. Okay, so I just want to give you some options, and we are going to start with the background, which is mostly green and black. So I'm going to make a green with my blue and yellow. I'm going to make a green with my blue and yellow. And this green that I just made is a little bit too bright. So I'm going to tap into the black just a teeny bit.
So you wouldn't tap into the blue? Or
well, the blue's going to make it more blue, like,
oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I want to tone it down to where it's not so bright.
I got you.
So that's why I'm working on the tones.
I got you.
So I'm going to come back here.
Thank you.
That's a very good question, Michael.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm over here paying attention there.
So I added the black because I want to work on the shading, you know, the color of the, I don't really know the names of all these things. Yeah, the shading. I wanted the shade of the green to be much darker. So I added my blacks, and I'm basically just working on my background with some darker greens here. Okay, I'm focusing where the darks are. I'm just focusing where the darks are. And I'm getting all of that paint that I just made, and I'm filling in that background with those darks. Then if you look at what I'm looking at, I'm going to show y'all really quick. Okay, so y'all can see all those darks? It looks like it's black, but I don't want to use black. I'm just using like a dark green. Okay, and so that's my decision there. All right, now I'm gonna make some more green. I'm gonna use my yellow. What's that?
Another question, what about, would the red have been as good as the black? Could you tap
Yeah, the red. If I wanted to go more on the grayish, brownish side, I could definitely use the red.
Good question, Patricia.
Yes, very good question. So now I'm going with a little bit more of the yellow because I want a brighter green. So in order to make it brighter, I'm going to stick with those lighter colors, and I'm going to see how this looks. There we go. I've got a little bit of those lighter colors back here. I'm kind of squinting my eyes actually to see, okay, where do I see those lighter greens at back there? So I'm not even paying attention to the flower. I'm not even paying attention to one of the flowers. I'm just looking back there, like way back there. And what do I see? What do I see? Okay, I'm going to go a little bit darker. I added, black is so strong, y'all. So watch how much black you use. I just used a whole bunch of black. And I'm going to go a little bit darker. And I'm going to fill in the rest of my background here. Give me some time, baby.
Yes, ma'am. 5:43.
All right.
Anne-Marie, have a great evening. She has to go.
Okay, Miss Anne-Marie.
She will definitely be watching the replay to see the end result.
Awesome.
And love right back to you.
All right. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to leave that. What I'm doing right now is I feel like I need to soften the edges a little bit of all those different colored greens.
Right.
So I'm just kind of meshing them together a little. Okay. All right. The next thing I'm going to do, because I want to work from the back to the front this time, I'm going to look at the next level. And the next level I see are all of these flowers down here. All of these flowers down here. So that's going to be more of a yellowy orange. So I'm going to take my yellow. And I'm going to take a little tab of red. And I'm going to make that orange that I see. Okay. Let me make a little bit more because I feel like I'm going to need it. Just added a little bit of water to it so it moves a little better. And then I see lots of yellow all the way down here. It's kind of like an orangey yellow, so I think I went way too high with my flowers. Now, this is when, remember when I said, oh, goodness gracious, what am I doing? Remember I told y'all there's all these different stages of the process and you're like, oh, no, It's looking horrible. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me. You know, this is kind of when I start thinking like that. This is the hardest stage for me. It's like I feel like everything's just falling apart and it's not going right. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. But it's time for a different shade of yellow. So I'm going to grab more yellow. And I'm not going to add any red this time, just the yellow. And I'm going to say, you know what? I have a little bit of a lighter yellow right in here. And I have a lighter yellow in here. And I actually need more paint on my palette. And I see I have some right in here. A lot, actually. And I'm just going to make sure I'm covering everything up. So I'm going to come back and just add some little strokes, maybe a little bit of dark down here. Okay. Clean that off. I'm going to add my centers of my cones, and I'm going to use a little bit of yellow and black. I really want more black than yellow. Yellow and black make a green color as well. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to blacken in. Let me see if I see a couple more. I'm going to add some red. Just a little bit of red. And that's going to make that kind of like maroon color. So I see one back there. Where else do I see one? Let's make one right here. Okay, give me some time, babe.
Yes, it is 5:48.
All right, we're doing great. Okay. All right, now let's go into the pinks and the reds. So I'm going to take some red and some white. And the hardest color for me to make without having it in front of me is magenta. I cannot make magenta. I have tried so many ways to make magenta with blue, yellow, and red, and I cannot. So you may not see me having that magenta color tonight. We're just going to use pink. I usually just buy the magenta in the tubes because it works better for me. So this is a beautiful pink that I created. And you know what? I'm going to use my filbert brush now because I want my using more white. I want my petals to be a little more rounded. So I'm going to use my filbert brush in my process. And let me zoom in on down for you so you can see.
Oh, dang it, Cindy, dang it. Filbert.
My filbert is coming out.
5:50.
Okay. I'm going to add some petals all the way around.
Filbert.
And let's go with a little bit more red right in the tips. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. Clean that off. Now let's go back down here. I walked away from this for a little while because I needed to let it dry. And I want to make a few very transparent, so I'm using a lot of water. I could use medium as well. A few little pink flowers over here. Just use some more transparent colors so that the green still shows through. And I'm gonna add a few little pinks back here. And then I'm gonna go back to the yellow and I'm gonna start filling in. I'm gonna grab a little bit more red and I'm gonna start filling in a little bit more of these cone flowers here. Okay, let's do this up here. This is gonna be an orangey red. Let's add some green to it. Yeah, that's what I want. It's kind of like a maroonish color. Let's add a little bit of blue. We need more red. It's gonna make almost like a burnt umber type color. And we're gonna fill that in up here. Let's go a little bit darker right on the edges. And let's get just a teeny bit of red in there too. Okay, so you notice that the tip top of that little cone is super bright and it's like a vibrant orange. So I'm gonna go back. I'm trying to grab this yellow in here.
Excuse you, Stella.
A little more red. A little more red. I'm trying to get that orange vibe going. Need a little bit of yellow.
5:54.
All right, we are almost done. Okay, so now this is when I start reframing things and looking at where I am, looking what needs to be worked on. Let me go back to some green. I need a bright stem. Now now on each side of the stem, I want it to be a little dark so that it shines through. So I'm making sure my stem has some darkness on each side of it, because that dark to light, that's always where you're going to get your contrast and you're going to see things pop. I do not want these flowers down here, I do not want them to be the highlight of the painting. So I don't really want them to be super, I want this flower to be the highlight of the painting. So I'm going to make sure that I kind of downplay these just a little bit.
556.
And I'm going to just make them a little bit lighter with some white and some yellow. And then I'm going to make another pass on my main flower.
So Candy, this whole tutorial will be available for 30 days upon completion of the 10 days. So yes, this actual painting that Jen's doing today will be available for you.
All right, and then right at the ends, I want to make it a little more white. See how that filbert brush makes everything look really cool? And that, my friends, is our quick mini painting. Let me take my tape off so you can see it better. Now, if I wouldn't be under time pressure here, then I would take more time, which you have definitely. You have all the time in the world to do this. Okay, so there, my friends, is your homework tonight. I'm going to calm this down just a little bit down here. It's a little bit too dark. I just don't like it that dark. And there we go. We have another painting.
559.
And I did it. There's our second little mini painting that we just created there, and I cannot wait to see your paintings. We did a lot of color mixing tonight. This painting took a lot of color mixing because of the pinks and the oranges and the greens and all that kind of stuff. And we just used our primary colors to do it. So I hope that you can do the same. And I cannot wait to see your work. And I cannot wait to see you tomorrow in the group again. Yes.
Jim, we have a quote.
Okay.
And the quote is from Mary Ann, and I wrote it down. I think you can learn anything if you have the desire, passion, and patience.
Absolutely.
And that's what we should remember.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you all so much for being here tonight. We are so excited that you have stuck around. I will be announcing in the group tomorrow morning the winner of our first prize. And it will definitely come from the people who have been the most active in the group and who have been participating in the lives. So stay tuned for that, and I will announce that soon.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great night, and
God
we will
bless.
see you tomorrow.
God bless.
Bye.
And Tribe, go to the Tribe.
Yeah,
Tribe.
Tribe is going to the Tribe.